Poor Pugs, you knew this was coming. You knew this was coming. There's no way you didn't. This is a request from Dankula German. I have no idea. I have no idea how to say this guy's name. But as soon as I saw this come up on my feed, I was like, there's no way this got requested of me. There's no way. But we're here now. And we must learn about the secret society that worship pugs. Poor Pugs, you knew this was coming. I knew this was coming. At some point, this was going to happen. Now, I have been checking out Dankula's Mad Lad series, but this is going to be a step away from that. This, God, I love Pugs, guys. I probably would have been in this cult, okay? I probably would have been in this cult with my little squish face, with the little kana. Well, I say that, but it's probably going to be something horrifying, but cults typically are quite horrifying. But if we're giving treats to the good boys and the good girls and the little squish faces, then I'm all for it. Guys, let's get into it. Count Dankula, the secret society that worship pugs.
My wife is always ranting and raving about how cute and adorable her wee pugs are.
I know, pugs are cute.
Don't worry, we're not going down that road again.
Let's not.
Throughout human history, much religious and spiritual importance has been placed on the worship of animals, from cats in ancient Egypt to cows in modern day India. So today, I'll be talking about a secret society that adored their chosen animals so much that they actually risked being prosecuted by the Pope himself.
Oh.
The Order of the Pug.
Order of the Pug. Nice. We're here. We're finally checking this out. The Order of the Pug.
But before we get into it, this video is sponsored by private internet access.
Oh!
I have all the time in the world for VPN since they are very pro-internet freedom and very anti-censorship. In my lineup...
Real quick, I'm just going to check and see how long ago this video was made, just so I can know. Okay, 2 years ago. It's probably not active, but I will be putting it down in the description below. Okay, guys? I usually let their sponsorships, I usually check those out because some of you guys might, benefit from that. But with, things that have been out for a while, those might have lapsed. But I'll have that in the description down below if you guys want to see it. Here we go.
59 cents a month. In the 18th century, the Roman Catholic Church still held considerable power and influence throughout Europe. However, the Age of Enlightenment was coming into full swing by this point,
right,
and the arguments in favour of political and religious liberalism were severely undermining the status quo. To deal with this, the Church and various European monarchies often worked together to ban organisations or punish individuals who were seen as a threat to their power. Mm-hmm. And one such organisation was the Freemasons. And one of the Freemasons' main aims was to bring men belonging to all the world's religions together in order to reach full spiritual enlightenment. Or at least, that's just what they want you to think. Now, religious tolerance wasn't exactly one of the Roman Church's virtues.
No, we can definitely say it was not one of the... No, it was nowhere near... Yeah, whoo, lads!
At this point in history, and a popular organisation promoting religious solidarity was seen as a direct threat to their authority. So, in 1736, Pope Clement XII issued what was called a papal bull against members of the Freemasons. This was essentially a decree that declared that any Catholics who continued to be a member of the Freemasons would be excommunicated, and it also prohibited future Catholics from joining as well. Though a lot of Catholics simply done what they were told and pulled themselves out of the Masons, many done so begrudgingly, as they quite enjoyed being in a group that allowed them to explore ideas and be a part of something that was larger than themselves. So they thought that if they weren't allowed to join a fraternal order, they would just make one themselves.
A lot of the suspicions and a lot of the basically myths about the Freemasons really comes from this time. Freemasons were basically just skilled laborers, tradesmen that specialized in different fields, and they just got together on certain things. I mean, it made sense for them to pull their ideas like that. So, I mean, George Washington was a Freemason. The design of DC reflects certain things in Freemasonry. So there's just a lot of myths about it, and a lot of it stems from that papal bull. But at the same time, they didn't do themselves favors because they were kind of secretive about some of their more closely held trade secrets, which, if you were in that situation, if you were highly valued because of your ability to, do certain things, telling everybody how you were doing it wasn't exactly a good way to ensure your financial security going forward. It really wasn't.
Around the year of 1740, a Bavarian nobleman by the name of Clemens August was alleged to have founded a new fraternal order, which would be open to Catholics only. Clemens was appointed as the Archbishop of Cologne, and he was also an elector to the Holy Roman Empire.
Go figure.
And he also held the title of Grand Master as part of the Teutonic Order. However, Clemens wasn't given these appointments because he was particularly talented or anything like that. It was purely because of his bloodline and family connections.
Go figure.
In fact, many historical sources claim that he was completely incapable of carrying out even the most basic requirements of each of the titles he held.
Great.
And instead, he would always be found partying and courting women. The reason why most people guessed that it was Clemens who set up the Order of the Pug was because it originally started in the German states. It was known to have a libertine atmosphere, and it had many high-ranking German nobles as founding members. So because of Clemens' background and his more hedonistic tendencies, we can safely assume that he just wanted another excuse to flunk his duties and party hard.
There you go.
To avoid angering the Pope, the order restricted its members to Catholics only, though some accounts claim that they were more than happy to break this rule on many occasions. Given that much of the order's membership was made up of former Freemasons, that really isn't too surprising.
Probably
not.
not.
But this brings us on to our first question.
Uh-huh.
How did you get in? Secret societies are notorious for their esoteric and often ridiculous initiation ceremonies.
Yeah.
In fact, a former British Prime Minister was alleged to have entered into a fraternal order by getting deeply acquainted with a dead pig's head.
I don't want to know. Skull and Bones and, a whole bunch of other secret societies have really, really extremely weird practices. Speaking of practices, I'm going to practice being civil. Hold on a second. Someone's calling me. All right, back into it.
Look it up. Tories are wild, man. But a fraternal society as innocent sounding as the Order of the Pug must have had something a lot more tamer than that, right? Well, let's just get on with the rest of the video.
Okay, let's go.
If a local order unanimously accepted a new member, the initiate is invited to attend the inducting ceremony with full attendance of all of the branch's members.
Okay.
And before we go on, the official title for a member of the Order of the
Puglet.
Pug
Puglet.
was Pug.
Yes! Okay, that...
They just called themselves Pugs.
Yes.
Which is what I'll be calling them for the rest of the video.
Yes!
Prior to entry into the ceremonial hall, the initiate is told about some of the entry-level customs and values of the order, as well as some of the dangers that might come to the initiate during the ceremony.
Okay.
After this induction, the initiate was then blindfolded and prepared for the first stage of the ceremony,
Okay.
which was to knock the door. But you couldn't knock the door like a man. You had to do it like a pug.
Yes!
So the initiate was told to get down on all fours and to paw and scratch at the door until one of the ceremonial overseers opened it to let them in.
Wait a second. I cannot not have these here. Oh, Daddy had to go get his baby. He had to go get his baby girl. Yes. There's your daddy's baby girl. Mm-hmm. Alright, we're going to listen to this, okay? Yes. Daddy's baby pug. Yes. Did you just... You burped? That was a sound... Why are you sound so disgruntled? Okay.
But getting in wasn't that simple either. Before going in, the
Listen, she's so disgruntled. She's so disgruntled. Why are you making those noises right now? Is it because of the cats? Is it the cats? What's the matter? Listen to this. Oh, what's the matter? What's the matter? Yeah, you're looking at the cats. You're looking at the cats. You don't like the war crime cats, do you? Listen to these disgruntled plug noises. I love it.
The initiate had to remain on all fours whilst the overseer put a bronze collar around their neck. They were then to be led into the ceremonial hall by the overseer, and they then had to walk in a circle, still on all fours, like a dog, about 9 times.
Okay.
At this point, I can't tell if this is supposed to get you into a secret society or a job with the London Met. Whilst all of this was going on, the senior pugs would be barking at the initiate like pugs, and would also be chanting ominous Latin phrases like memento mori, which means one must die. The combination of loud, shrill barking and ominous chanting was to apparently scare the initiate as much as possible to test their courage. It apparently worked really well, as one observer claimed that some of the initiates either trembled to the point...
She wants one of those cats. Yes. You're just making disgruntled bug noises. Why? Daddy's trying to bring you back into this world. Come on now. Daddy showed everybody you were a baby when you were really tiny. Yes, when you were tiny. I love my damn pug, okay? This is my baby. This is Daddy's little baby. Okay, God, I'm done gushing over my pug. I'm done gushing over him. Come here. I know, you're making disgruntled pug noises. Okay, if you're wondering if this is the way she breathes, she does not breathe like this. These are the noises she makes when she's like legitimately trying to make a point. She's looking at the cats. Watch her head. Okay, there's the other cat over there. So the other cat's underneath the shelf, and she's looking back at that one now. You can actually see the other cat underneath there. She's like laser-eyed that one. She's looking around for the other cat. Can you see her? No? God, I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. All right.
Of collapsing on the floor, or they got up and just straight took off running out of the ceremonial hall with their little collar still on.
Nice.
The barking also had a symbolic meaning whereby the initiate was regarded as a feral dog that was invading the territory of the domesticated and civilized pugs.
Yes.
As someone who owns pugs, I can assure you there is nothing civilized about them. After the initiate has had a nice little walk around the hall, you know, like a good boy, they were then led to the feet of the Grandmaster, or in this case, the Grand Pug.
Yes, Grand
The Grand
Pug.
Pug then explains to the initiate that the order is not open to feral dogs like them, but there is hope, as they can possibly be tamed into a noble pug.
Yes.
The Grand Pug then instructs the initiate to stick their tongue out as far as they can so they can receive a branding by hot iron. Of course, the Grand Pug wasn't actually going to brand their tongue with a hot iron. Instead, he was just going to place a cold bar on their tongue. But the point of this part of the ceremony was to test the trust and loyalty of the initiate. But between the whole cosplaying as a dog thing and getting literally barked at by senior members of the order, the whole situation was so mental that the new initiates probably thought that they were actually about to be branded. One first-hand account testified that a new initiate was so scared about what was going to happen that when he got the cold bar placed on his tongue, he actually screamed as if he had really been branded by a hot iron. Yep. It's at this point that the ominous chanting from the hall completely stops.
Oh, boy.
And instead turns into unrestrained laughter from the senior pugs.
Nice.
And to rub in the initiate's embarrassment even more, the Grand Pug begins asking the initiate some questions.
Oh, boy.
Questions like, there's going to be a lot of word substitution here.
Oh, boy.
Because I don't want to get demonetized.
Okay.
Questions like, would you have intimate relations with a member of the order? Would you have intimate relations?
I know it's disturbing. It's disturbing, baby girl. I know it's disturbing. Okay, you're burping. You're burping. You're burping, which means you're going to fart soon, and I don't want to be a part of that. Excuse me, guys. I got to go put my baby back because she's going to start blowing gas soon, and it's going to be a natural disaster. That's my wee baby girl. She's so cute. I wanted initially to set up a place for her, and then the wife wanted cats. So the cats, even though she wanted them, I have to deal with them. And I can't set up a little thing like right here and set Volcana up here, which I am the sad now.
With a pug. And
no.
Probably my personal favourite, would you put your Pringles can into the rear entrance of the devil himself? If the initiate refused to answer, the Grand Pug instead resorted to the would you rather line of questioning, so that the initiate had to admit to having butt fun with at least something. Some initiates would get so annoyed by all of this that they would actually start shouting at the Grand Pug to just quit it and get on with the ceremony.
Nice.
Though this was probably a fair reaction to everything that was going on, the mocking of the initiate did have a purpose. The order placed a very high value in establishing the bonds of friendship. And friendship, well, it involves a bit of banter, doesn't it?
Among men specifically, if you're a woman and watching this wondering what the hell is wrong with us, well, we can't figure that out ourselves, okay? The best group of friends you're ever going to see is the one that tears each other down the hardest.
So even a weird pug-worshipping secret society understood that teasing helps build character, and it's what friends do.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's also something that you should not be arrested for. After the Grand Pug
Message!
calmed everyone down, it was time for the final stage of the ceremony. The swearing in of the new initiate. The initiate would swear an oath to keep the mysteries of the order an absolute secret and to do all they can to help their fellow pugs in times of need.
That sounds good.
After the initiate had taken this oath, only one more demonstration of loyalty remained. They had to kiss a pug's arse. Or at least only the most hardcore of orders would get the new initiates to do that. Most of the local branches instead got the initiates to kiss the backside of a statue of a pug. After surviving this, the initiate is then shown the light by having their blindfold removed.
Nice.
When the initiate is able to finally see what's happening, they would find themselves completely surrounded by all of the other pugs who were all pointing their swords towards the initiate's face. Pugaki. Anyway, whilst the...
Really? You had to go there.
were all pointing their swords in the initiate's face, they would all also be holding a piece of cloth with the image of a pug in their free hand. The female members present would, at this point, surround the Grand Pug's altar while performing the Order's secret sign and placing their free hand on the ceremonial toilet.
What?
Yes, a ceremonial toilet.
What?
The meaning behind the ceremonial toilet, however, unfortunately,
Lost to
has
time.
been completely lost to time.
That sucks.
At any rate, after all of this was done, the initiate was now a full, bona fide member of the Order of the Pug. But as we all know, being a member of a secret society is just the beginning.
Yes.
The real fun comes from ascending the ranks and eventually getting to the top. You know, most of them don't expect you to pay tens of thousands of dollars each time, like Scientology. Why is Scientology still a thing? So how would one go about ascending the ranks within the Order of the Pug?
I don't know.
Well, the different positions below the Grand Pug were the supervisors, the overseers, various officer classes, and the pugs at the bottom. Though each of these positions had different duties, every member of the Order was considered of equal class to each other, with the exception of the Grand Pug,
Okay.
who was on top and above everyone else when it came to power and authority.
Okay.
Sounds a lot like communism. And there wasn't really any obtuse way of getting these positions either. Unlike the Freemasons, who have a series of rituals to ascend to the various ranks, the Order would just hold an election for the various positions, with the winners getting to hold their positions for 6 months.
Hey, there
The
you
Grand
go.
Pug itself was also an elected position, but it was considered a lifetime position, either until they died or they chose to give the position up. Also, unlike Freemasonry, the Order also permitted women to not only join,
Good.
but to ascend the ranks the same way as the men.
Nice.
They couldn't get the Grand Pug role, but instead they got the role of Grand Mistress, which effectively just shared the duties of the Grand Pug. In order meetings and at dinners, men and women would sit in alternating seats in accordance with rank. So women were pretty much accepted as real equals within the Order of the Pug. But out of all the dogs they could have chosen to represent their secret society, why the pug?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, the founders felt that this breed best symbolised the traits of loyalty, trust, and steadfast character. And the order made sure to rigorously enforce these behaviours into their members as well.
Yes.
Members had to attend every order meeting throughout the year, and they were only permitted to miss out if they had severe health problems or they were abroad on business. They also had to strictly abide by the standards of behaviour, or they would just be instantly kicked out of the order. Because the order was made up of many former Freemasons, the Pugs prided themselves on their secret symbols, signs, and iconography.
Okay.
Various symbols and designs used by the order were said to represent the primary virtues of loyalty, trust, discretion, tenderness, sweetness, and humanity. But the use of the pug itself is said to have held a much deeper meaning than that. In 1688, the Dutch stadtholder, William of Orange. Yeah, you'll remember him from the Glencoe video.
I don't.
Well, William of
haven't seen that
Orange
yet.
sailed to Britain to overthrow the rightful monarch, King James, because
Reasons.
he was a bit too Catholic for the English nobles' liking. However, the new King William had to accept limits of his rule through a newly imposed constitutional arrangement, which the UK actually still pretty much follows to this day. For many of the intellectual classes throughout Europe, this was seen as a very positive move towards a more liberal and fair government. However, many European countries made it pretty much illegal to voice support for systems of government that deliberately questioned their authority. Upon learning...
I mean, for most of human history, and this is something that my mind is blown by people today because they don't seem to understand it. For most of human history, all forms of government were insanely tyrannical when it boiled down to it. Insanely tyrannical. For most of human history, rights were laughable for the common person, and your life didn't suck only if you were in the upper echelons of society. That's for most places during most of human history, and people today get it twisted because like we have it so good, and rewind back about 150 years. I mean, yeah, there's only a couple places in the world that you'd actually want to be in, to be honest with you.
Learning that William brought his favourite breed of dog, the pug, alongside him to England, many people in continental Europe also started owning pugs as a show of support for the so-called glorious revolution that had happened in England.
Oh.
So the order of the pug may have also been an expression of wanting to limit the power of absolute monarchs throughout Europe, as well as limiting the power of the Roman Catholic Church, who had made life so difficult for the pugs as former Freemasons. Thus, many of the customs that the order adopted incorporated the pug imagery and fermented its own kind of anti-establishment vibe. Members would carry silver pug
Rage Against the Machine back in the old days was a bunch of pugs.
medallions with them as a signal to other members. And yes, they also had a secret hand sign. This involved placing either the pinky finger or thumb under the chin, then scrunching one's face up like a pug, and also sticking their tongues out as far to the right as they could go. Like this.
Okay, fine. Yeah, that works.
I mean, okay. Back when nobles were supposed to be prim and proper, a hand sign like this symbolised the anti-establishment flair that the order was aiming for.
Rage Against the Machine.
My pug also knows a secret hand sign.
Stop it.
I would show you, but you know, laws. Much of the interior design and initiation rites used by the Pugs were said to be remarkably similar to those used in Masonic lodges. This isn't too surprising given that this group was intended to be a splinter offshoot of the Freemasons. Despite this, though, the order did make an effort to establish their own customs, and they were even said to have arranged their own musical compositions for their own ceremonies and processions.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, many of the customs and symbols that the order used have been completely lost to time, with the only real first-hand account being written by an anonymous author with the pen name Gabriel Louis Calabre Perrault, who was suspected to be a staunch anti-Masonic Catholic.
Oh.
The Order of the Pugs' influence was said to extend throughout many of the German states within the Holy Roman Empire, as well as England, the Netherlands, and parts of France.
That is...
Coincidentally, these were the regions with the highest concentrations of Protestant movements and Enlightenment thinkers at the time. And because the order consisted of many rich and powerful nobles, they were able to commission porcelain sculptors such as Johann Joachim Kendler to create decorative pug statues for the order and its members.
You see, this is the way the pugs are supposed to look. Like Volcana, she has her snout is just not pronounced, and I'm sad about that because, I mean, the obvious. I mean, it was something I was worried about. She does this disgruntled pug noises, but at the same time, you know, it does concern me that it was concerning me when she was growing up because I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what they were, so I was worried that she was having breathing problems and stuff like that. But no, that's just her being disgruntled. But I know pugs that can't, like, it just really upsets me when I see a pug that can't breathe right. You know, I really don't like that. That's because breeders sit there and bred them for that no-nose face, kind of like what Volcana has. Pugs had snouts. Connor has one. Ducky has one. Volcana does not. And I refuse, like, we do breed her. And I refuse to breed Volcana with any dog, with any pug that does not have good traits. Because pugs, I don't want an animal to be born that's not going to be able to breathe right. That is just cruel. That is just cruel.
However, as secretive as the Order of the Pug attempted to be, they were eventually found out. In 1745, Perrault released his book, roughly called Secrets of the Pugs Revealed in English. This book detailed the initiation ceremonies and general activities of the order, which shocked the Catholic world. Yeah. Some speculate that releasing this book was Perrault's attempt to be appointed as a Catholic priest and use this as a means to essentially kiss up to the church. Thus, the order soon fell under the same degree of penalisation as Freemasonry, with excommunications and formal government bans being enacted throughout the late 1740s.
They just want to keep pugs, like, out of power. It makes me sad.
However, despite being allowed to continue in many other countries around Europe, interest in the order died only 10 years after its foundation. This was because attitudes towards Freemasonry were becoming less hostile as the years went on, which eliminated the need for a Catholic-only order. Plus, the thrill that many of the members got out of being in a completely secret society had been completely evaporated now that the secrets had been fully exposed.
Right.
Some historians have estimated that very small local branches of the Order of the Pugs had survived in France up until the year 1907, though there's really not been any kind of major discovery about the Order's origins or practice.
Would y'all stop it? Stop running across my desk.
Since 1745. So sadly, as far as we know, the Order of the Pug completely died out. But at least we know how furries started. But
Stop
before
it.
you go,
Stop it.
you know the drill.
Oh.
You know what must be done. You have to. How else will I know you're a real fan? Anyway, boys, pucker up.
It's Count Dankula on YouTube! Everybody just subscribe!
She's constantly coming over here right now. This cat is constantly coming over here. Come here. I'll scratch your little skull. Yes, there you go. You feel better about life right now? You feel better? Can you stop messing with my stuff? I'd appreciate it. I would very much appreciate it if you stop. I'll scratch your skull again. Okay. War Pugs. The Order of the Pug. What times we live in now, where we can look back in the past and see the times when pugs were in their proper place in society. We're considered the bastions of loyalty and grace. And stop yelling. You guys yell all the time. Can I please? My wife wants cats. She gets cats. Where do they go? In here. Do you hear that? Like in the background? It's like constant here. So, War Pugs. A society that worships flat out pugs. Would I have joined it? Maybe. Maybe not. I definitely want some of that porcelain, though. That porcelain looks awesome. I'm just saying. I would love to have some. Right on that shelf right there. Oh. And as you can definitely tell, I love pugs. My pug is my baby. But joining a cult dedicated to them? I don't know if I do that or not. War Pugs, I'm going to jump out of here. And I don't know what I'm going to do tonight, but I do know one thing. I'm going to go pet my good girl. It's because she's a good little baby. And I'm going to try to figure out a way to keep you guys from stopping it. Like, you guys just yell at each other constantly. Can you not? All of Count Dankula's links are going to be in the description down below. Like, leave a comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Pick up some merch from down below my links in the description. And I'm going to head out. I keep looking at my microphone. Not the camera. That's so slow.